Today's word of the day, embiggen.
Fettuccine Alfredo. Everyone loves it. It's so easy. Alright, so first we're going to need our water for our noodles. Next, to heat up our sauce. Now, if you never had the luxury of enjoying handmade pasta, or if you've been eating sauce out of a jar all your life, treat yourself. You deserve it. Yahoo! Fresh pasta. It's like dried pasta, but better. It's also really easy to make. They've been making it for thousands of years in Italy, but we have the technology and fancy tools to make it all easier. Now, some of you might say, you're doing it all wrong. Nona makes it the best way. Well, your Nona's not here. I'm my own Nona now. And so with everything, we're always going to start off with the scale. Going to be using a food processor. You can do this on the table, but it's really messy. It's a lot harder. I'm using all-purpose flour here. I guess you use the 00 flour that's made for pasta. Apparently it's finer and silkier, and it makes better pasta. But I ain't got that. I got this big old bucket of flour, and I want to use that. It's about 100 grams per serving of flour. I'll be making 3 servings. And for every serving, 1 egg. Next, our salt, generous pinch of salt, sea salt. And lastly, for every serving again, 1 teaspoon of olive oil. It's 3 teaspoons, which makes 1 tablespoon. Now, we may need a splash of water, depending on how large your eggs are. If they have enough water content in them, if they don't. But we'll see what happens. Alright, so we're going to pulse this a few times until it comes together. Dump this out. Make sure you grab all the excess egg and flour mixture off the edge. So from here, try to get all this mess into some sort of a ball. Just like that. Pressing down and picking up all your broken dreams. That's a callback. From here, I usually knead this by hand. It takes about 10 minutes. Because the internet always told me not to put in the mixer because the dough will get too tough and it's not good for the mixer. But I'm the internet now. Let's see what happens if we use the mixer. Because my KitchenAid mixers can do everything. Now, being as this is only 300 grams of flour, I should probably only use my small mixer. The moral of the story is everybody should have 2 mixers. We learn from our mistakes. Dough hook in. Let's see what happens. It's been about 5 minutes. It's not really coming together as a cohesive dough, although it is sort of kneading it. I guess we'll be doing this by hand. Basically, fold it out, grab a corner, lift it, bring it down, push it, twist it, turn it, press it, bop it. Keep doing this until all this comes back together. Develop some gluten, the rest. All of these noodles, all these doughs, all these breads, they're all the same. You know what? Let's toss this back in. I am pretty lazy. Come on, baby. Sort of worked. Our dough's getting really soft and pliable. Our dough's coming together. Just need this a little bit more. Yeah. So maybe for this one, use a mixture of food processor, a stand mixer, and your hands. All for pasta. It's worth it. Probably. Alright, then let's roll it out into a log of some sort. You see, we know our dough is done. It's really pliable. Our gluten's developed. It's also really tight. So what does that mean? Another rest. So what we'll do, cover it up in plastic wrap. Let that rest at room temp for at least an hour to 2 hours. Long enough that the gluten could relax, could stretch, we could roll it out and make our noodles from this. So we'll be back in a couple of hours. So as we let our dough hang out and rest, we could prep our protein. I got about a pound of shrimpies, peeled and washed, and hopefully they dry up a little bit more. We can salt these now. And sure, we could salt these when we tossed it in a pan with all of other stuff, but this ensures they get their flavor boosting from the salt, and then we don't have to worry about missing out on our seasoning when we put everything together. So like all things, half a teaspoon of salt, kosher salt, per pound. So now we know our shrimp is seasoned perfectly. And that's it. We'll let this hang out in the fridge. Hopefully some of that excess moisture will come off, so our shrimp will be extra plump and juicy when it comes time to eat them. And we're back. Our dough, super soft, super pliable now after a couple of hours of resting. From here, if you got a rolling pin and some big muscles, you could just roll this out flat, nice and thin. But unfortunately, I only got one of those. But I do have my double mixers and these KitchenAid knockoff pasta attachment. So I'm going to be using this one for the dough. This one just makes it flat. We use this one to cut our noodles. So you can cut them by hand. This makes things nice, simple, and easy. Next, you want some cornstarch. Logically, you'd use flour, but cornstarch being not flour won't absorb into the flour and you won't get the pasta stuck together. Trust me. A friend once told me he ran into those problems before. I'm going to separate these into 3 sections. Grab our rolling pin and get this just a little bit flatter. What we're going to want to do, take this dough, put it through our pasta attachment. It'll make it thin, and then we'll go through each of the levels to get them as thin as possible. So dust some cornstarch. We got our first sheet of dough. Pasta. Is it pasta or pasta? From here, separate this into half. It's really long. From here, using our cutter, we'll run this through here. Easy. So we got our first nest. Dust these with cornstarch so they don't stick to each other. Put them in a bowl. Cover so they don't dry. And then we'll do that for the next 2 batches. Start making our sauce. So we got our noodles ready. Let's get ready to get our water boiling. Have this fancy pot. I think it's supposed to be for making pasta. I'm using it to deep fry stuff. But yeah, I think it's a pasta pot or for asparagus. Asparagus. Basically, have this water. Put your noodles in here. Put it in. When they're done, pull it out, dump it out. And you know to go fishing for your noodles. And if you know me, I like my onions, and I like them caramelized. So we're going to start on that now. Dice these up, get them on the stove, and once they're ready to go, we'll get our garlic, we'll get our shrimp, and we'll get our sauce, we'll get our noodles, and we're done. Quick, sort of. It's easy. Some olive oil. That's probably too many onions. Oh well. I like my onions. So for our sauce, keep it on medium-low. About 100 grams of butter, or half a cup of butter. And once our butter is melted and starts to clarify, 1/4 cup of flour. This is a lot harder than it seems. Turn the heat down a bit. Once our butter and flour gets brown, we'll add our milk. Now most of the time, we'll call for cream. I don't got cream, I never have cream, I don't drink cream. I drink milk, and I also drink cream cheese. About 100 grams of cream cheese I drink. This will give us that creaminess and that tang. Ooh, my onions are browning a little too fast. That's okay. That's by design. I'm going to keep this whole mixture mixing so everything kind of dissolves together and becomes a cohesive sauce. And a little bit more oil. At this point, I'm going to crush 3 garlic cloves. At this point for our sauce, about a cup of Parmigiano-Reggiano. Once our onion and garlic is all done, we'll toss in our shrimp. Put this to high heat and about 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. Keep mixing that. Here, we'll get our shrimp in. That's about it for the sauce. Season it with some black pepper. Off the heat at this point. Give this a taste test. Needs a little salt. We know if our shrimp is done, if they're orange, or if they're at least 160, 170, which these are, and that's it. We'll get this in our sauce. Alright, now we got our sauce ready. Get our water boiling, which it is. Takes about 1 minute. That's it. Minute is up. Do some of our sauce, our shrimp. Toss this together. Let's try it this way. Get our sauce on our pan first. Our noodles are done. Toss I know you're supposed to garnish this with parsley, but I got cilantro here. Parsley tastes like soap to me. Apparently that's a common thing with a lot of people. And also the other way around, where cilantro tastes like soap to them. But we got our parsley or cilantro, some more Parmigiano-Reggiano, some black pepper. So that's fresh fettuccine and some fresh Alfredo with some bangin' shrimp. No need for jars, no need for the prepackaged noodles. These just taste so much better. I mean, the fresh pasta is a lot of work, I'll admit it, but it's so worth it. Actually, see how the dried pasta is. I need your help. Which one's better? Same. Same means I won.